Hi friends, I'm Anna Helman, and today I want to do something a little bit different with this video. We are going to do holiday edition of what you can do to decorate your holiday table. Now, we're talking about Thanksgiving today, but if you like this video, I can definitely do more of these for Christmas and other holidays. So if you're not hosting and you don't have reasons to decorate your holiday table, there are other things you can use these projects for. One of them is a really cute decoration you could use in your house. One of them is a really cute treat holder you could use to give to coworkers or friends or neighbors or people at whatever gathering you are going to, if you're going somewhere. But you can use these ideas in a lot of different ways. So I hope you'll watch along and see the fun things we're going to create. The first idea I want to share is a simple way to decorate your wrapped silverware. Then we're going to look at the centerpiece idea, and then we're going to look at the cutest little turkey we are going to create out of punches that you can use for treat holders, name card holders, lots of different things. You can put it on cards. So let's start with the silverware, the wrapped silverware. Here's the stamp set I'm going to use a little bit. And this is very simple. I pulled this strip out. Do you ever end up with strips in your scrap collection that you were just waiting for a use for? Here is a great use for some of those strips. Now I am going to, just to add a little bit more decoration, I am going to stamp on this. I love the wheat in this gathered wheat stamp set. So I decided I wanted to stamp this a little bit onto that strip. Now that that is stamped, I am also going to stamp this leaf, this cute little leaf. These came pre-made, part of it's called the Leaf Label and Amber Gem Combo Pack. You get several of these leaves and some pretty gems in a combo pack, and it makes it really easy to use them for this or cards or whatever you'd like to use them for. But again, I just want a little bit of texture on there, on this leaf, so I'm going to stamp that shock of wheat there over the surface. And I think I'll do that again down here on the spots that didn't get any. Okay, now all of our pieces are prepared. I already made the little tag and I used the one greeting. I'm going to use the stamp set a couple of times on these projects we're creating today. So I use the stamp that says, "My heart is filled with gratitude." I stamped that with Blackberry Bliss. Put it over just a little bit of brushed metallic cardstock because metallics are just so pretty this time of year. And now we are ready to go ahead and put everything together. This is very simple. So if you have a few people that are coming over, or if you want to offer to make these for somebody in your family who is the host, what you can do, this is going to be the piece that wraps around, and to get it so that it curves instead of bending, you can use a bone folder and do exactly what I'm doing right here to curl it like that. Now you'll want to put some nice strong adhesive on one end. And I should mention this piece measures 1 inch by, I believe, about 4.5 inches. I'll wrap that around, and if we put that seam in the front, it will not show after we put our tag on. Okay. Next, we can put this leaf on top. So I'll put some more of I'm using my Seal Plus. This is really nice and strong. You could use glue dots, you could use tear and tape adhesive, but I'll put this on here and give it a nice press. And then I'm going to attach this with some dimensionals. So put a couple of these on the back. I like to use my take your pick tool to help place them and remove those little paper backing pieces as well. And we'll put our little tag on. Now, if you wanted to, if you really want to make these cute, you could add a little bow with some twine, a couple little gems, but this is a nice, easy way. Think how nice these will look filling that holiday table. So there's project number one. Now we're moving on to an idea for a centerpiece. And there is a very good possibility you have seen these before. We're gonna use some canning jar rings. If I start calling these lids, just know that I'm talking about the rings, not the lids. The rings is what we're using. And you've likely seen these where you put a whole bunch of them together and they look like a pumpkin. So let me bring in what I have created so far. So this doesn't look completely like a pumpkin yet, but it will shortly. So I'm going to set this carefully off to the side because until I tie it all up, it is a little unstable. But let me show you how I decorated these rings. Now I do a lot of canning from my garden. So I had a lot of these in my house and I have several that are getting rusty. So these are the ones that I don't really want to keep in my canning collection. I grabbed some of them and I got 14 of them. I am using the regular size, regular mouth, not wide mouth rings, but you could do this with wide mouth rings as well. I cut the size of the paper pieces you cut is going to depend on if you're using regular mouth rings or wide mouth rings. So mine measure 1/2 inch by 9.5 inches. Now, if you are using wide mouth, you probably need to do 1/2 inch by maybe like 12 inches. I'm not sure. You could try one that way and see how that works. So what I think would look really nice on a table, I just have one here to show you today, but what I think would look really nice on a table is to have 2 of these small, depends on how big your table is, but 2 of these smaller ones with the regular mouth lids and then 1 in the center with the wide mouth lids. I think that would look really nice. So I wrapped the paper around, as you see. I used my Tombow glue for this and just put a strip down the center, wrapped it around and held it in place there at the end until it dried a little bit. I think the Tombow glue is nice to give you a little bit of wiggle room if your paper doesn't, if you don't lay it in the exact place you want to right away, you can move it around a little bit before it dries. So the designer papers I've used here are from the Gingham Cottage designer paper pack. I love that they have these plaid gingham prints in lots of different colors, and I chose these to be nice for fall. I think it's pumpkin pie, real red, mint macaron, and calypso coral, I believe, are the colors I chose. So now what I've done is I lined these all up side by side. I fed a piece of twine through the center, and I wanted to line them up so that the base of the ring is facing the same way on each one. And I'm going to try and get them to overlap a little bit in the centers. And this is kind of the little bit tricky part, but I think I have them so that each one, as we move this way, the canning ring is just a little bit outside the one in front of it. So what I'm going to do is tie this, and I do want to keep it fairly tight. After we tie this together, we're going to turn it into a pumpkin, which will happen pretty quickly. Okay, so I have this so that even this one on the right of my hand is going to be a little bit inside of this one on the left. And if you happen to have a helper, this would be a good time to have a helper, maybe stick their finger right there for you, or grab some of your tweezers. My twine just fell apart, I think. Grab some of your tweezers and hold that in place while you tie this, okay? So you can knot that as many times as you want. I am going to just hide that for a moment. You won't really see it much, I don't think. Oh, I take that back. I don't want to see those ends. Let's cut those off. So now we can start to see the pumpkin idea. Okay, so we can put something in the center as a stem. You can use a cinnamon stick if you like, And we'll see if I can get that down in there. I will glue that in, but it looks like it's staying pretty well right now, so I'll leave it just like that. You can just use a cinnamon stick. If you don't have cinnamon sticks, just grab a stick off of a tree or a bush in your yard. Would work perfectly. Okay, now that this is here, it's just not quite complete. I mean, these are adorable, but if you really want to finish it off, you can make a cute tag for it. And here is the beginnings of a tag that I'm going to create. Now, you're gonna see I use this punch right here. It's called the Lasting Label Punch. It's a really nice one. I use it quite a bit. And we're gonna use it here on our cute turkey project here in a couple of minutes. But what I did, I punched one out of white. I stamped that greeting, "My heart is filled with gratitude." I believe, yes, that is the same one I had used on the silverware. And then I punched one out of my designer paper and I cut it in half. Here is what I am going to do with the half. I'm going to use it as a mat for my bigger one. This is a trick I like to do when I have a punch or a die that I want it to look, I want to be able to mat it and have another color of paper showing from the background. But it's hard to do that when all you have is one punch that's the same size. Well, here's a little trick you can use to make it look like it has a mat. Now I'm going to punch a hole in it and we'll put some twine through. We're going to tie this to that stem on our pumpkin. So I have 2 pieces of twine here. Sometimes I like to use a double twine just to add a little bit something extra. Tie this around that cinnamon stick. Now we'll put this in through the tag. Tie it one more time. And now I'm ready to make my bow. If you have a hard time tying bows, I'm going to put a link in the video description below for my video with lots of tricks for how to tie a perfect bow. I have a couple that are perfect for beginners. So here we can see this finished pumpkin. I just love this. I think I need some more of these in my life. I may have to make some more of these. And I didn't mention with the canning rings, if you don't have any canning rings in your collection like I do, I'm just kind of turning around some of my ends of the paper that were where they were glued together. The seam are showing, so I'm just turning those to the bottom side so they don't show as much. But you can get these in many stores, have canning supplies. Even a lot of some of the dollar stores even carry canning supplies. So you can pick some of those up. If you know any people who like to can food, just send them a message and ask if they have any rusty ones that they aren't using anymore, because once you cover them with paper, you don't even see that rust anymore. So that was project 2. I love how that turned out. Project number 3 is this adorable turkey I've been talking about. And I've shared several turkey punch art projects in the past, and they have been rather popular, so I thought I would create another one with some of my current punches in my collection. So let me show you what I have created here, and then we're going to put this little guy together and I'll show you. I'm actually going to put him on a really simple treat holder that I'll show you how to make the base for it. But you could use this cute turkey on cards. You could use it on a little name card holder for each person at the table. You use it in a lot of different ways. So I have created these leaves with, this is called the bow punch, B-O-U-G-H, bow. And this is actually the same one I used to, I forgot to explain that, to create these cute little punches. I used the smaller punch on the centerpiece and then these larger ones for the turkey. So that's the bow punch. I already mentioned this, the lasting label punch is the turkey's body. And this is a 1 1/4 inch circle that you can create with a punch or a die, whatever is easiest for you. Now these are going to be the beak and the wobbler. Is that the word? I'm from a farm. I should know this, but I don't really know much about turkeys. So I punched one of the leaves, that very end leaf, out of the yellow and out of the cherry cobbler paper. And this is what we are going to need to create our turkey. Now, after I have put this together, I am going to add a little tag. We're going to do a few other things with it, but let's go ahead and assemble this first. So what I want to do first is add the head onto the body. So I'm going to use just a little bit of adhesive at the base. You definitely use the adhesive of your choice here. Let's go ahead and do the beak, and we're calling it wobbler. I heard at a women's conference for my church a couple of weeks ago, if you don't know how to say, there were some ladies like trying to read names and things from the Bible that they didn't really know how to say them. Many of us don't know how to say them. And the phrase of the weekend was say it with confidence. Okay, so I'm going to call it a wobbler, and I'm going to say it with confidence. So what I'm going to do is attach the little red one kind of to the side, and then we'll attach that yellow one over top. Put a little bit of glue on there. I'd love to find different ways to use punches. It's always nice to use them in the way they're intended, of course, but then there are always more ways to use them if you can just use your imagination a little bit. Okay, let's go with that. Now, you can create eyes with a hole punch would be good if you want to, but what better way to create cute little eyes for your turkey than use googly eyes. So we'll put these on. Again, I love to use glue because I never ever get them straight, and I have to do this so they're down there at the bottom. The pupils are down there at the bottom so I can actually tell if they look okay or not. Okay, so we got the eyes on. Now, how to get all of these feathers on. These are the feathers, in case I haven't mentioned that. So I punched them out of several colors. I'm going to lay these out in an orientation where I think that's how I want them to go onto the back of the turkey. And you can watch along with that. The colors I used are, and I'm sure I'll mess this up several times. The colors I used were Blackberry Bliss, Cherry Cobbler, Crushed Curry, Cajun Craze, and Mint Macaron, I do believe. Here's one. Do you ever try and punch something and you're just like so close to being able to get the whole punch out of your scrap of paper? Well, I decided that I was going ahead and punching that out anyway, even though it didn't quite fit, because I figured it would overlap and you wouldn't be able to tell. So, okay, how do we like the looks of this? I'm going to spread this out over here, and you could definitely attach these one at a time if you like, but I thought I would share this way to attach them all at once, basically. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put adhesive most of the way across the back of the turkey, and I should have done this before I put the googly eyes on. You may want to do that, or if you're using glue, you can definitely still put glue on now. But I'm not going to put it all the way to the bottom, but we'll put glue most of the way, or seal most of the way across the back there. And get this where I want it. Now I've messed up my wet googly eyes. Okay. And press down. And most or all of these should stay attached. If you want, you can check just to make sure they're all nice and attached. You could actually put another punch here on the back. That seems like a good idea. Let's do that to make sure all of these stay in place. So I'll punch one more. Put adhesive all over this one also. and just line this up on the back. That should hold those on really nicely if you are concerned about it. Now you can, like I said, add this to a card, make some name card holders. I'm still trying to adjust his little eyes. We are going to create a treat holder. So here is what I have. I have a piece of designer paper. This is from the Rustic Harvest designer paper pack. This measures 2¼ inches by 7½. And then I scored it 2 times here at 3½ and 4 inches. Going to bring in my very best trio punch. If you follow along with the things I've shared, you likely have seen a project similar to this in the past. I love this kind of treat holder because they're so quick and easy to create. Now, you can create these very, very simply and decorate them however you want. Decorating them with turkey does take a little bit more time, but these are just really nice ones that are simple to create. Now, I just remembered, I forget with this punch, if you want your edges to be perfectly symmetrical, they're pretty close, but they're not exact when I line this up because I forgot to do what I'm going to show you right now. Punch, let's say the top left corner here, flip this around 180 degrees and punch the bottom left corner, and then turn your paper over, punch the other 2 corners this way, and it will end up perfectly symmetrical. It's very close. I am sure my guests will not realize. And then I want to punch a little hole that I can put twine through. So you can do those one at a time, or I like to line them up like I showed you, fold it together, put it in there and punch. And now this is the entire base of our treat holder. So we can decorate it however we want. We are, of course, going to add this amazing turkey that we created. I do want to add a tag. So I used one of the other stamps from this Gathered Wheat stamp set. This time I used the one, it says simply thankful for all you do, but for the Thanksgiving table, I thought it would be more appropriate if it just said simply thankful. I stamped this onto one of my little white strips of paper that I keep around, and I use them a lot of times on greetings. You could trim this with a trimmer if you like, but with all those straight lines, it's pretty easy to follow them with some scissors and just trim by hand. I am going to put a couple of dimensionals on the back here. This little guy, this little take your pick tool, I could not survive without this. I just love it. I'm going to put links to all the products I'm using in the video description below. So if you're interested in them, or if you want to see still photos of my projects, I know sometimes it's nice just to look at a still photo. You can use the link in the video description below and go to my website and you'll see those photos. Okay, so here's our little turkey. What can you put inside of here? These are really nice for Ghirardelli squares. You could put flat-ish candies like peppermint patties, or a couple of caramels would fit nicely in here. Those are popular this time of year. Reese cups would probably fit in here, but anything kind of flat. Tea bags, you could put lots of different things in here. And once you're ready, just put a little string through those 2 holes. And tie this shut. So just imagine what your holiday table could look like if it was filled with several of these cute little treat holders, or if you want to turn them into name card holders, like I said, your decorated silverware, and one or a few of these lovely centerpieces. So thanks so much for watching along. Let me know if you like this. If you like this, I could do another one of these for Christmas and maybe some other holidays throughout the year. So I hope you have a blessed day. Take a look at more information down there in the video description below. Have a blessed day. I will see you again next time when I'll be here helping you to hand make with love.